I'm Kelly Mitchell, and this is Women on Wine TV. I so love saying that. This is so exciting. Ah, Women on Wine, Business, and Evolution, and we are here to make your business better. Joining me is my partner in wine, Debra Trapin. We are sharing rich conversation to enlighten and challenge the busiest people on earth. How are you, Debra?
I am doing fabulous today, Cal. How about you?
I am doing fabulous as well. It's just, one of those days and we do what we love, so I love what we do. I'm so excited about this episode, but I want to find out first, what is in your glass today, my friend?
Well, in honor of climbing walls and getting cuckoo about working from home, I am
Yes.
revisiting one of my favorites, and that is Twisted Knickers. And
Ooh,
I just have this vision of climbing walls and our knickers being twisted as we're doing it.
love it.
Now
Yeah.
this is a wine blend, a white wine blend, and it is summer in a glass. There is no better way to explain it. It's not super dry, but it's not super sweet. And it is great with a basic cheese plate, maybe a little meat on the plate, but you don't need it. It's just light and delicious. It shouldn't be super cold. Take it out of the fridge and let it set for maybe 20 or 30 minutes, and it is amazing.
Cheers to that.
Yes. What's in your glass?
My glass is a 2013 white wine. I absolutely adore this. This is from Murrieta's Well, and that's at Murrieta's Well on Twitter. This blend is called The Whip. I want you to chew on that. It's called that because in my eyes, I have to create something if they don't lay it out there, so I'm just going to tell you. It is a wild amalgamation of seven different grapes, including Semillon, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, Orange Muscat, and Viognier, to name a few. There's a few more in there.
Wow.
It's as smooth as silk, and it has an unmatched versatility. I would pair this with my lips and a glass because of that.
I would pair this with my lips in a glass. I wonder if anyone is going to search that. What do I pair with my lips and a glass?
And a glass. See, this one. I mean, literally. I think you could. I think you could drink this with a steak, with fish, with nothing at all but good conversation, and that's why I said what I said.
Wow, I love it. That is awesome.
And I just spilled. Oh, this is going to be a good show. I can tell already. Okay.
So tell me, what is the title of our talk today?
We're on episode 85 of Women on Wine TV, and we're talking about climbing the walls, woes of working at home. So, and we know this very well. You've longed to escape the corporate constraints to give back to yourself and your family. Determine your own schedule, stay on top of things at home, while building a business you can be proud of. And guess what? Now the walls are closing in on you. The laundry is piled up. You're having solitary conversations about dinner with yourself. What's a woman to do? You're trapped. Today you will learn about ways to save your sanity, which is very important. When you have a great work-at-home strategy, how to stay fresh and dialed in, and why getting out of the house is even more important than ever before. And our word for the show today, Debra, is?
Working from home. We're actually going with a little bit of a phrase today. So work from home, working from home, give it a little sip.
You got it. Let's do this. Cheers.
Cheers, my dear. You know what I find interesting about this topic is the term entrepreneur is everywhere. And everyone calls themselves an entrepreneur, and it's one of the probably top 10 words in my vocabulary. But really, most of us are solopreneurs. Yes. We're actually not sitting in a garage with 7 other people trying to build the very first computer. or the next generation of a vehicle in our basement.
Right.
Most of us that are, breaking into our own businesses are solopreneurs. And so this topic is so awesome because there's days, I don't know about you, but there were days where I don't have things scheduled outside of my house. And like I can blink and think, wow, like is it Thursday or is it Friday?
Oh,
I'm pounding away in the same house that I eat and sleep and play with my dogs and, greet my husband. Everything happens in the same four walls. Oh my gosh.
Well, I've moved out to the wine cave, as you know, so I'm not like in the house, but I am 20 yards from the house. Yeah. And the challenge with that is there are no distractions, and I can come in here at 7 o'clock in the morning and walk out, and it's nighttime, and I forgot to do anything except for work. And that makes you crazy as well. It's like, either way, you're still at home, right? And you're not going anywhere. You're not having any conversations unless they're on the telephone or on the video screen.
Right.
And that can truly make you crazy. So working at home, cheers.
Cheers.
It's like a lot of things that people, or it's one of the things that a lot of people covet, but there comes a kind of a bit of baggage with it and challenges. I mean, like, let's talk first about the distractions of working at home.
Right. Well, I think just saying there's distractions. There's laundry, there's dishes, there's dogs, there's the UPS guy, there's the mailman, there's the garbage man. I mean, there's every... The what?
There's dirt.
There's dirt. There's dirt. There's dust.
Oh my God. It's like you've dealt with the laundry, you're preparing the meals, and now you've got, it's like you can spend 17 hours. How did we make meals when we were working 60-hour work weeks? Like, we weren't even at home. Who did the shopping for us?
Aha. Well, part of that, I think, is my first tip, which is to really set aside exclusive space for work. So yeah. You seriously do, like, what you have now in the cave is awesome because you're actually leaving the space. Now you have to go inside to, do like tinkle and get a drink of water or whatever, might have to happen with that. But you're actually leaving and going somewhere. I have the big bonus room above our garage set aside specifically for the D11 den, and that allows me to, I seriously have to open a door and walk down a couple of stairs. So I'm like, okay, I'm at work. And I think that helps to cut the distractions out. My biggest problem is when I decide, oh, I'm going to work from the couch today.
Bad idea. So your first point, and this is an important tip, is if you're going to be successful at home, you have to carve out your workspace. You have to make it your own. You have to make it, put stuff in that you love. I'm still, kind of in the process of putting everything together. But it has to be this dedicated space because at some point you have to unplug and get the heck out.
That's right. Well, and not just for your sanity, but also for taxes, right? So I have this specific square footage that's set aside for me to run my business. And that allows me to write this specific square footage off. And that brings me pleasure. Being able to write something off on my taxes. And so it's for sanity, but it's also for saving. So It's really good to have that space exclusively for work. And then, honestly, the next thing is get dressed, right? Get dressed. I remember when I decided to start my own company, I will not reveal his name, but one of my buddies who was running a company on the East Coast said to me, yeah, there'll be a day where you realize you're wearing your pajama pants and you're only dressed from the waist up because you have a video chat with someone. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I wonder if he's in his pajama pants right now. Or I hope he has pants on.
Right?
But
I mean, That's the reality of working at home. Cheers. That
Yep.
is the reality of working at home. There are some days where you may not have a commitment to go anywhere or do anything, and you're literally, because of time constraints, or maybe you had a late night or whatever, you literally roll out of bed and land at your desk, right?
Yep. And that's a no-no. We no want to do that.
Why don't we want to do that? Sometimes I like to do that.
Well, I think that part of the ritual also of working from home is you need to have a bit of a routine. And so when I get up, I don't actually work right away. And I didn't always do this, but now I have my Debra's Power Hour. And what I do in there is I do a little meditating, I do a little reading. I might just stretch or do nothing. But what I found I was doing is I was waking up, and the first thing I was doing is like checking all social media and checking my email, and like I went from sleeping in this beautiful state of Zen to, oh my God, what's going on in the world? And I was losing my own traction because working from home was actually working everywhere. Right? It wasn't just what was happening in my own home. It was what was happening in North Carolina, and what was happening in New York, and what was happening in Hawaii, and what was happening in LA. And so now I kind of have a buffer, a little bit of a buffer zone. It's not my workout time, it's my buffer time, right? That power time.
I love the concept of that. I don't know if I have time for that. I actually I've made the time to make sure I'm getting my 5 miles in, right? And so that takes a huge chunk of time. To get 5 miles in walking is like an hour and 10 minutes, at least an hour.
Well, and
And
you're
so,
worthy of that time, by the way.
what's up?
You're worthy of that time, which is
Yes.
something here that most of us solopreneurs, we get so obsessed with working, because our work never ends.
No, it
Like,
never ends.
let's just preach to ourselves. There will always be something more we can do for our businesses, Cal. Always. And
Absolutely. And that's everybody who's out there sitting in the same place is like,
yep,
it never stops. How much time do you put into your work? I don't know how many hours I work. I probably can count easier how many hours I don't work because it's a smaller number and it happens less often, right?
absolutely. And we forget that sometimes, I think. Uh, my husband works in corporate America, and he has a salary and a bonus structure, and so he has a general idea of what he makes an hour, right? And it's actually what he makes an hour based on how many hours he works. And so the days where he works 16 hours a day, he can say, I just basically cut my salary in half
Oh,
because
yeah.
I'm giving them twice as much time that I'm being paid for. And for us as solopreneurs, we tend to forget that. We're like, oh, I charge $250 or $500 an hour, so this is how much money I'm. No, 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 no. Because when we're working 16 hours, we're not getting paid $500 an hour to do that.
No, we're not. No, we're not. We have mountains to move, and we have people to connect with, and we have to make things happen. So it's like we don't have a lot of people. I mean, we may have some help for our businesses, but we don't have a team of people supporting us. So that does take a lot of time, and it's hard on us as business people. You know, I want to talk a little bit about the need for getting out of the house. We talked a little bit about, you having your power hour, me having my get out and walk thing. But this get out of the house is completely different because the walls will close in on you and they will squish you into a flat, one-dimensional pancake, and you will have no brain left because it'll be oozing out of your ears. So here's
Ew,
the
what's
deal,
up with the nasty visuals? For crying
I
out
mean, that's
loud!
an unhappy visual. I'm getting to the happy part. Here comes the happy part. So when you get out of the house, what happens is the walls expand. In fact, the walls disappear. And you get out of the house to do things like take your computer to a coffee house, have a different interaction with your business, meet a friend for, some catching up time, or meet a business associate. I mean, we're relying so much on computers and texting and messaging to do so much of the work for us that we end up looking at our four walls, and that is not healthy because we can't be creative in a four-wall space when it's the only thing we ever see. If you want to change your business up and move things in a direction where you're going to have some differentiating and you're going to have some life breathed into your business, oxygenated, what do I want to say there? When you want to have some life pumped into your business, make sure you're getting out.
Absolutely.
You need that attention, yeah?
You know, one of the great things that I have done in the last 18 months in my business is turned at least 2 meetings a week into a walking meeting. And here, of course, in the Seattle area, sometimes that's thwarted because it's pouring rain, but that's very rare. I know the world thinks it dumps rain here all the time. It's usually just really gray and kind of cold, but most Seattleites are used to that. So we bundle up and we take a walk. And I'll tell you, there's something that's so exciting and invigorating about getting out and walking and being creative and having a meeting at the same time. And so that's one of the ways I get out. There's also really cool co-working spaces out there now. And almost every single city has at least one, if not more. And so if you're like, I don't want to work in a coffee shop, I can't stand the smell, or it's too loud, try looking for co-working spaces. They're pretty inexpensive. I know the ones around here, like you can start, you know, somewhere in the 80 to 150 bucks a month for kind of working in the free space. That includes your Wi-Fi and stuff. And
right.
I think it's you know, it's a worthy investment in your sanity.
Absolutely. And get out there and network. Look for events that have, you know, with other entrepreneurs where they're learning something, where you have an opportunity to connect. And I love the startup grinds because they are all over the world now. Startup grind is for entrepreneurs that are in a space, and it can be, you know, startups are one person in their home or 7 people in a garage. There are no rules. So you get out there and you talk to people who are making things happen and creating either new products or bringing new ideas to the market, whatever. But the networking time is super crucial too. We don't have that opportunity of just being able to bounce things off of people randomly, which is nice because you get more done, less interruptions. But
you're also just doing what you think is best all the time when you're doing that.
Exactly.
Which it's so beautiful how these are all weaving together, because my next tip would be try and turn your phone calls into video chats. Not only does that help you, of course, get dressed and, you know, put your face on. If you're a gal that likes to put your face on, put your face on. There's something, you know, I've said this so many times that, you know, my grandma used to say, when you feel down, just put some red lipstick on. It always helps, and it's so true.
It really is. And your teeth look really white.
Oh my goodness. For the people who didn't see that, thank God. So turning things into video chats, it does a lot of things. So right now the world seems to be battling some form of attention deficit because we're so overwhelmed with all the technology. So a video chat actually makes you slow down, close your technology, and pay attention to the other person. So it helps to control that. You also actually get to see the person's face, their body language, you know, their facial expressions. And so, for instance, if you're reviewing a proposal, wouldn't it be great if you could see them grimacing if they see a number on there that blows their mind, that maybe on the other side of things, if it were a phone call, they would be silent? So when you use video chat, it really does help. It's kind of that middle. It's like a bridge between in person and on the phone, and it also helps for them to get to know you too. And I think it's a great way for the solopreneur, the entrepreneur out there, to just keep connected while being in their little den or their cave or whatever you call it.
I love that. Excellent tip. Excellent tip. Okay, red lipstick, get dressed, and connect on video. Okay, my final tip is manage your distractions and set rules, because When we're walking past the pile of dirty clothes and we see the dishes in the sink and the dirt or dust bunnies on the floor, we're compelled to address them immediately. And the challenge with that is when you're doing that, you're breaking up your concentration. Now, we've had some small discussions about multitasking, but I'll tell you what multitasking is doing A, to your brain. You're rewiring yourself, and you're rewiring your brain to stop thinking complete thoughts and to start going into fragmented aspects. What does that do to your work production? Yeah, it's really bad news. So multitasking is bad for you. Not only that, but you have a productivity window, and usually it starts from first thing in the morning, and as the hours count down in the day, your ability to produce and focus becomes less and less. So by interrupting those thought patterns, by doing things that aren't related to the things that you need to create or produce, you're hurting your business. So manage your distractions, create rules. If you want to have lunch every day at noon, and go into the kitchen and clean the dirty dishes for 15 minutes, that's fine. Make sure you're doing it in one lump. But don't be constantly pulled by the minutiae because it's harmful, right?
So good. That's so good. So that kind of leads into, mine is a little bit of a combo. It really is, know when you work best and then fuel yourself during that time. And by that I mean, part of the beauty of being an entrepreneur, a solopreneur working from home is that you get to choose when you get up and when you go to sleep and when you're working. And there are some people who are crazy early birds, and they like to get up at 5 a.m. and they rock between 5 a.m. and noon. Like those are their core hours, and that's okay for them. For me, I'm not going to be up working at 5 a.m. I don't mind being up at 5 a.m. if I'm leaving for a trip to Hawaii or Paris.
Right, me too.
But I'm not in my brilliant state at 5 a.m. So knowing your own rhythm and then having healthy snacks to fuel you all the day during that time where you know this is my work time. Because what I find, and I know you find this in the wine cave, is that you look up and you're like, oh my gosh, I skipped lunch. And that's the worst thing we can do for ourselves. It's not only bad for our metabolism, especially as women get older, dang it, our metabolism really needs that fuel. So get yourself some yummy dry fruit and nuts and really fuel yourself throughout the day, because that will help you keep the cabin fever at bay, because you're really fueling your brain with really delicious whole food.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that is a wrap, my friend. Thank you so much. And remember, the word of the day or phrase of the day is working from home. So if you didn't have your sip yet, please do. Thanks for listening to Women on Wine TV. To our fans, go bold, Women on Wine. Subscribe for now to brevetTV.com. It will be changing to Women on Wine.tv very shortly, so you won't miss the rich goodness of information for your entrepreneurial lifestyle. I'm Kelly Mitchell for Debra Trapin and Women on Wine TV, signing off. Take care, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers. Tee.
Stop climbing the walls.
Stop climbing the walls.
Get rid of the distractions.
Drink wine.
Healthy snacks.
TTFN.